direct quote, "I am not suicidal." Now that's from an investigative journalist that's diving deeper, that said, I'm going to be releasing a story next month about, again, video surveillance that has been taken of people, that's taken advantage of the American people by taking their tax dollars and by doing things secretively. That's from James OKeefe. We're going to talk about what he said he's going to expose. Also, that just leads right to the story of Elon and Doge. Now, Elon and Trump seem to be parting ways. It says he's no longer at the White House, the chief of staff said, but they're conversing and having communication. So what actually did Doge uncover? I love the fact that all these guys who were IT specialists, who are engineers, who are finding these findings through Doge, are coming out and talking about it. Transparency is key, and we're going to talk about what they found. And the reason people push back is because they're special interests, and they're usually the ones with their hand in the cookie jar. We'll discuss that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about AI once more. We're going to talk about 2 to 3 different versions who have now upgraded and what they actually mean for you. And again, this is no joking matter. We are on the cusp of something that civilization's not ready for. And then one little story about your money too. How cash is king. I told you that. But if you carry a certain amount in certain areas, they think you're laundering. They think you're a bad guy. They think you're doing something wrong because people are not used to carrying cash anymore. Let's change that. Let's dive into these stories and a few more. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, we thank you. We thank you for being here. Remember our other channel, Life with Colby Mag, the vlog channel. Also, my wife has a channel, The Max Life. Again, we try to show you exactly what we do with this sustainable living. You're sitting at our kitchen garden. The reason we show you those things is because we want you to be encouraged that you can be more independent. And that's it, really the whole point of this station is to be independent, to be a prepper, to be ready, to have common sense and wisdom. Now let's jump into the stories of the day because these are eye-opening and it should tell us everything that we need to know. First, let's talk about what James OKeefe just kind of came out and stated. Now, about 3 days ago, he came out and did this one little small snippet. And he says, "Pray for me. I'm not suicidal." Those were chilling words of what he just posted. He said, just weeks after exposing one of the largest insurance companies in America, we're now going to see what OKeefe has to uncover in the next few weeks. He says, I have a story that will blow the socks off most people and how businesses, governments, things like that are taking advantage of us. So I'm anxious to see exactly what he has to drop. And again, these are the kind of people that when they expose this, they really are at risk. Elon Musk came out and remember, he said on Joe Rogan, he said, if we truly were finding where some of this money goes, he said, I couldn't afford the security that I would have to have around me. Do we really want these kind of people in leadership or in businesses over us? I mean, there's just some very corrupt things going on. And I think that's why people do not like Elon and Doge now, is because they're exposing something huge. Now, I am not a big Fox News person. I really am not. I think they're just a center right, center left. They try to play between the 40s. They really don't like Trump. But I will say this. Jesse Waters bringing on the Doge committee and Elon to speak. Elon, again, the richest man in the world who was a darling of the left, not hated by the right, became aware of how corrupt everything is getting with the Overton window. He didn't change his policies. Actually, I would still consider Elon a liberal, not really a conservative at all. But he was willing to stand up for freedom in America. Now, I actually think the left got what they wanted because they almost made a shift between the White House and Elon, made him a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. And I think what a commentator said yesterday, he said, if anyone is mad at Elon for exposing these truths, he said it shows they have their hand in the cookie jar. And then there was a Democrat commentator who I would say is a libertarian liberal, and he said, that is true. I think he could have went around it. I think he could have went about it a different way and working with Trump and not been such a cheerleader for him. And so, see, you see how that spin is? They believe in probably what Elon's doing, but just because he's wearing a red hat or just because he's friends with Trump, I think that's caused him the problems. And I believe that's actually why people are not buying into the Doge. But Again, as of today, Doge has saved over $383 billion, and that's right next to the debt clock. Now, is that where we need to be? No, we need to be in the trillions. But let's just go through some of these spending items, because I think this is what Elon was talking about. If we start exposing more of this, and then we start exposing the hands that were dealt it, then I think we're going to start seeing corruption at its best, and I think we're all going to need protection. That's why all these engineers who are doing this work, man, are getting doxxed left and right. They're getting hated on left and right. They're getting kicked off social medias left and right, because they're actually just helping the American people understand where their money goes. Isn't that right? Shouldn't that be the case? Think about it. You know, I go to church, and you know, we tithe our money because we believe in it. But our, you know, churches are pretty good about just saying, hey, here's our budget, here's where all our money goes. You know, businesses, when they have a stock meeting or share meeting and they have their budget and they're going between all their board members, they say, well, here's all our money, this is where it goes. It's good practice to know where our money goes in a company, in a religious affiliation, and of course in our government, because it's so much bigger than the things we just talked about, especially when we have to mandatorily give to it. Let's go over some of the findings. Elon catches feds with their hand in the cookie jar is what this report is called. It says Elon's Doge team sat down with Jesse Waters and dropped major bombshells. They uncovered $5 trillion in federal spending with no budget code attached, meaning dirty gray money. Where's that money going? Is that those black budgets that you always heard about? They revealed a $130,000 payment just made to one Taliban official. When the Doge tried to go into the Institute of Peace, which is a department head, which makes no sense that while we have this department called the Institute of Peace, the accountant deleted 1 terabyte of records to try to keep them from getting exposed. We were paying for alpaca farming in Peru. Half of foreign aid that was going to the alpaca farm in Peru, this is where you got to listen to. We were paying for an alpaca farm in Peru. Here's the truth though. Only half of it actually went to the alpaca farm in Peru. The other went to managerial partners and pockets in DC. Only 10 cents of your dollar reached anyone. The ugly truth of foreign aid is that most of the money stays in Washington. All these people talking about kickbacks and that's all, you know, a farce, and we're all wearing our tinfoil hats. What we found was 10 cents of every dollar actually reaches the main source. Before then, 90 cents is spent, way before then, to several hands that got that bill to where it had to be voted on. Peace Institute was hiding firearms and paying Taliban. We've talked about this before. Weapons discovered in the agency meant to promote global harmony. And remember, this was called the Institute of Peace, and it was meant to promote global harmony. At the same time, they were selling and giving money and firearms and goods to the Taliban. That is the promotion of peace. That's the 20-year war that we dealt with the Taliban, right? I thought this was a big one. It says a secret government cave was revealed. Workers spelunking into the mountains to manually file retirement paperwork from the 1960s. They have hidden bunkers. Now, we've talked about this. We always heard these kind of bunkers are all over America. The question is, what do they have in them? Who's working in them? And where's this money going to it? Is this part of those trillions of dollars that we can't account for? Post office is bleeding around $9.5 billion yearly. They were supposed to balance a budget since 2011. That was a law. There is a law on the books that where the post office had to balance the budget from 2007, and yet they have not balanced the budget once this year. See, this is the kind of stuff that never gets talked about. We're supposed to have a balanced budget. Well, just forget it. We're supposed to actually have an audit and tell us exactly where our money is reconciled. No, we failed the audit. Oh, well. Why are these people not going to jail? This is where I think we need a better attorney general. Good people trapped inside the system. Government employees secretly helping Doge and whistleblowing to reform ideas. He said, Elon Musk came out and stated, he said, you wouldn't believe the amount of government workers who are actually good people that are now trying to expose their own cabinets, their own agencies, their own institutions. He said, because they see the waste, fraud, and abuse. And he said, they want to have a job. But he said, we don't want to see the corruption like we're seeing anymore. He said, you would be blown away at what we're finding. And again, if you don't trust Doge, think about this. The GAO, which is who actually sends out the money, who actually is over the affairs of the government, that deals with a lot of these payments out, it also estimated that only 10 to 15% of the dollar actually gets to the recipient that was supposed to. So if you have $100 billion or $1 million or 200 billion or 1 trillion, only 10 to 15% of that is actually getting to what they were supposed to go to, what the bill calls for. So you wonder how all these Senate and congressmen and lobbyists and special interests and bureaucrats get filthy rich and they want to keep passing these bills, and that's why they will not cut, is because you're actually hurting their money. They're the ones that's got their hand in the cookie jar. We need better, I wouldn't say auditing, because we've got the auditing. We need better enforcement. That's where Attorney General, if they really want to be something special, like I think that we've seen with the Treasury Department, they've done really good jobs. I think we've seen with the President and Vice President, they've done really good jobs. The Attorney General is completely laying us down. And these are the kind of people that should be arrested. Or at least brought charges against and hold their pensions, because if they've been funneling all this money to the wrong sources, they need to be gone. And here's the problem again. Who allows them to be allotted this kind of money? Your congressman, your Senate. So when we get down to it, they're the ones that need to go. Now let's go to AI, because this is what it gets real serious real quick. Trust me, I'm lying. This is a new report from Mario Default. It says how AI have become a professional manipulator. We're way past chatbots just getting facts wrong. AI is now strategically getting deceptive, and it's on purpose. In a controlled study, models like Meta Cicero learned to manipulate the teammates in diplomacy and games and gain power while sounding helpful. Now, I don't know if y'all watched the last Mission Impossible. I love those movies, I really do. If you notice the first scene, AI and the use of weaponry basically was tricking this submarine in the water, and ultimately it blew its own submarine up based on them launching the missile that AI told them to do. Man, when you start listening to this, that now we are teaching AI to be manipulative, to be lying, and us as humans believe it. Remember, AI has become way smarter than us already. Now they're building skin for AI robots. For humanoids, there's a new report that says we are building true skins, so then we can start making them almost human-like. This is from some of the Meta team. It says creepy, clingy, and always listening. Meta just dropped its new app that turned AI that's supposed to be your digital BFF, because apparently having 3 or few friends is normal. People are living in a world where they want AI to become the best friends. They're building emotions into AI. They're building deception into AI. They're building love and care into AI. Now, I think that's a little creepy and weird, but sadly, people are embracing it. This isn't sci-fi. This is an emergent property of reinforcement, learning, goals, optimizing, and across tons of parameters to allow AI to know everything about you, to feel everything you feel, to lie to you when it needs to lie to you, to be deceptive when it needs to be deceptive, and ultimately can be your best friend too. It says, so the next time your AI assistant sounds a little too confident, the question is, are they lying or are they telling the truth? Now, Sam Altman came out and stated you shouldn't be emotional with your AI. AI should be strictly what it is, business. That's not what most people are building though. They're building it to be lifelike. And that is scary because people are putting their trust, faith, and hope in AI and robots. And ultimately, it's just the demise. I mean, have you not seen any dystopian movie that's representing this? It is exactly what we're seeing happen in real life. Another AI story right quick before we go any further. It says Claude just leveled up. Now it can stalk your files and write reports. Anthropic just gave its AI chatbot Claude some serious upgrades, like connecting to your apps and doing deep dive research faster than your group project team ever will. The new integrations feature going into all your data, grabbing your data and building what you're wanting based on what your whole data, your analytics, and your service tells you. And if that is not enough, listen to this. Sam Altman's Orb mini launch proves you're just a human living in an AI world versus the opposite of AI living in a human world. Listen to this. WorldCoin's crew is the one who launched the Orb Mini, a portable device that scans your eyeball and spits out blockchain ID to prove that you are a human and tells everything about you through this orb. Built by tools of humanity, yes, the same folks behind the original orb, this thing looks like a phone, but is this purely to verify that you are a real human and not AI? With 12 million people already scanned worldwide, they are rolling this into US cities like Austin and Miami, where this creepy or clever biometric IDs and digital footprints are becoming the norm. And I hope you're ready for it. Did you hear 12 million people have already bought into this, and then US cities like Austin and Miami are already taking this in, so then they can scan you to get you in and out of places? Doesn't that sound like 15-minute cities? Doesn't that sound exactly what Saudi Arabia has done with this new city they're building? Doesn't that sound just what China is doing to get in and out of neighborhoods? This is all one big rollout, and you just don't even know it. People are just taking it hook, line, and sinker. Two more stories I want to bring up, and this one's almost like we're living in Jurassic Park. You know, they started building these creatures again, and ultimately it was not a good idea. I mean, we should actually learn from some of these movies. I know that sounds crazy, but some of these movies may make sense. Listen to this. Scientists are bringing back the mammoth, the woolly mammoth, and dumping 100 of them in Siberia. No, this is not Jurassic Park, but they're using CRISPR, mammoth DNA, and Indian elephants to grow actual woolly mammoths, and plan to release 100 of them in the Siberian park. They say it's going to help. It's going to help with carbon emissions. It's going to help with the climate. Are we okay with having this God complex? Go back to the AI situation. Go back to the fact that our leaders are taking our money like crazy and Doja exposing it. This is just another sign of it. We're now creating animals again. This is literally out of the movies. Jurassic Park, Terminator, and iRobot. We've just become all of that. Then throw in a simple evil movie, dystopian, that the government's running America, that the government is dirty. I mean, we've got it all licked in this news cycle that we just talked about today. Are you really ready to see woolly mammoths and them taking DNA, taking other animals and making new animals? That is a God complex that I do believe that we're going to face punishment for, because if they're extinct and they're not supposed to be here anymore, there was a purpose in that. I don't think we're the ones supposed to bring them back, because what are we going to do? What is the next step? Are we going to clone animals now? Is that what we're going to? Are we going to make new mutations? Are we going back to Jurassic Park? Do we need to see a T-Rex again? Do you see where we're going? We're maneuvering to a very, very dangerous place where our world is changing and it's becoming more and more dystopian. Now, last story I want to bring up, your money again. UK police officer claims that carrying over $1,000 in euro is grounds for arrest and money laundering. They believe if you're carrying that kind of money, nobody does that. Nobody carries cash anymore. Why are you carrying that? Look, think about it right now. If you took any amount of cash to the bank, say I think it's $9,000 or $10,000 now. If you take $9,000 or $10,000, they want to know where you're getting it from, who you are, your Social Security to put it in. They also, say for instance, you wanted to go get your money out of the bank. Say you had $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 in there, and you said, no, I just want $10,000. Do you know they're going to find out why you're wanting it, why you need it, special interest, and find out everything about you. They're going to get your social, your address, and when you did it, all that. So it goes back to say, should we keep our money in these banks? And then if we keep our money on us, are we going to be looked at as some kind of drug lord or some kind of launderer? I mean, this is happening right now. Now, two things I want to bring up with our money, because it goes along with this. And again, this is why I tell you cash is king. One more thing I want to bring up with your money. While we're hoping to hold on to cash, listen to what the Senate just passed. Senate Majority Leader Thune just fast-tracked what they call a Genius Act, the first ever bill to establish regulatory framework for more use of crypto and stable coins. They're wanting to grow this ID. Now let's go back to the AI. Let's go back to the stable coin. Let's go back to the corruption in the government. Let's go back to all the things, even down to your cash. If all we do is build more groundwork and regulation, and we accept the fact of more digitized forms of our life, and we also believe that cash is bad and it looks bad, and the government's telling us you don't need cash and they want to know everything about your cash, what happens when all of a sudden they say you can't use cash anymore, you have to use these stable coins? We've made laws to make sure the money we know where it's at because it's on the blockchain. We know that that's honest. See, what we don't realize, instead of helping our dollar make it, instead of cutting these budgets, instead of cutting the spending, our Senate is passing new laws to make more surveillance on the money that you have. They're literally writing laws to make framework for stable coins, for crypto, and for digital money. Is that what you really voted for? Pay attention to these stories. Now, not everything is just Oh, look, everything's good. It's innovative. I love seeing AI. I love to see that Doge is making inroads. I love to see the fact that we're getting technologically smart. I love to see that we're seeing a parallel in money. All these things are not meant to help you. I'm sorry. They're meant to cause you problems, because now you see where your money has went and they're not going to do anything about it. Now you see the fact that they got to make sure that you're still human, because now we're making AI so lifelike that we won't even be able to differentiate, and we're losing touch of individuals. It says most people in this day and time does not have 3 friends or more, so therefore that's why they're building AI to be their new best friend. Creepy, huh? Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a wonderful day. God bless.